Guys, if you're thinking about property and you are thinking that you are sleeping on your money, we're going to talk about that today. I had a client yesterday have this conversation with us, and today they're coming in the office to work out how to not sleep on their money. Stay tuned. We're going to talk about it today.
I'm the ringleader, so listen up.
Good morning, The Economist, Josh Wapshot.
Good morning, Mr. Mark Novak. How are you?
Good. Now you were pretty. You've been conferencing yesterday, and you've come back passionate about this topic.
Yeah, really have. There were some interesting speakers up there yesterday. Definitely a little bit inspirational. I don't know if people know an Eddie Deline character. He was he'd bought something like 10 properties by the age, or 20 properties by the age of 25. He's now amassed a portfolio of 150 million. It was very interesting. You know, his story was coming across from one of your, as he described it, worse off suburbs in the western suburbs, commission housing, single parent, none of his family owned property. And that really inspired him to have something that he didn't have or didn't have access to when he was a child, or that his family had access to. So I think that really spurred him on. It was quite inspirational, his story. And it got me straight onto ChatGPT as soon as I got home. And I started unlocking, the topic here. You cannot afford to sleep on your money, and that's what we're going to open up today. And I believe you had a story also, Mark.
Yeah, and what did ChatGPT say out of interest?
Out of interest, so I'd explained to them that I'd purchased a Casa del Mar off the plan next door. And I said to them the idea for me was to create a property portfolio as quick as possible in terms of acquiring assets or property. And funnily enough, it said to me that great job on buying Casa. They're seeing that there's already instant equity. Essentially, what they're with my deposit and where the market's heading, I'd be able to pull out anywhere between sort of 80 to 100,000 for my next purchase from a 6 to 12 months from settling on that. Said that would be the ideal time. And then it actually said to me, you should be buying in a western suburbs corridor, growth corridor. So that's like Schofields, Marsden Park. It said to buy something between 900,000 and 1.1, a 3 to 4 bedroom house. And then I took it a step further, because Mark and I always have these conversations about Queensland. And I'm thinking, well, I could purchase a house up in Queensland, 5 minutes from the beach. Surely $1 million is better spent there than it would be, say, out in Schofields, Marsden Park. And I asked the question in detail to ChatGPT. I said, wouldn't I be better off buying in a closer proximity to the beach in Queensland, lifestyle, in comparison to these, western suburb areas? And it actually said no. It said the banks actually value New South Wales property more than any other state. And that's backed off strength in tenancy, whether it be vacancy rates or what you actually, your yields or what you're receiving there. Apparently your valuations are a lot tighter, and they're also more open to growth in a quicker period. So if you're looking to recycle that equity that you're growing, where you might, say, for example, I went and bought that house in the western suburbs corridor. I've done some renovations, and then I want to pull out the equity. I'd be much better doing that in a property based in New South Wales rather than Queensland. And I was actually a bit biased. I was hoping that they were going to spit out Queensland, because I'd be like, buy a place up there. If it's empty at a stage, go up, visit, stay, see my mate. That would work well. But no matter how many times I prompted, it said New South Wales on the back of lending, in order to build that portfolio, because you're probably going to be exposed to better growth, stronger growth, more concrete growth. So That was really interesting. So that's where I ended up going down the path, and then it was a matter of residential, commercial. Said your first 3-4 residential, for the fact that you generally need less LVRs and you're easier to pull out that money quicker in terms of that equity. And then I said versus commercial, same thing with the LVRs. And then we worked out a path with the banks. That path would be principal and interest and using negative gearing on the DY property. And then I would look to most likely 50-50 on the second, whether I go P&I or interest only, but definitely the third or fourth to help with serviceability. We would go down an interest only path on those loans. And because obviously the struggle you get to is I buy that, I rent it out, I still pay my rent, I've got a shortfall here. Now I've got a shortfall on 2 or 3 properties. How am I going to service this loan? So I was on it for a couple of hours. So that's how inspired I was leaving yesterday. But hey, you come back, you learn more, you improve as a person, and you get that energy. You're reinvigorated to go and do more, better, and realize your time on this earth goes like that. So let's make it worth it.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, here's the best bit. He didn't ring me. He rung AI. He rung AI. He didn't ring me, the guy that's been doing it for 32 years, that's exposed to $4 billion of rent roll landlords, who's built stuff, it's a lot of stuff himself, and is like AI. And AI said don't buy Queensland. I would have fucking told you that.
Exactly. And Lisa's just said financial advisors being used, still being used. Well, that's the thing. And that's what another speaker yesterday had said. Just he essentially, sad he's sort of reduced the staff levels, and he predominantly focused on AI, something called OpenClaw. And that's what he was saying. He was saying he went to go and lease a property for a new business he's starting in wellness. He said he went and gave his lease to his solicitor. $5,500 later, 9 days later, he got his advice back. He goes, I put the same thing into my OpenClaw. He came back with the same points that my solicitor did, except it wasn't 9 days. It was within minutes. So it's scary, but you've got to adapt. You've got to evolve, and these technologies and things are things that will get you ahead of the rest of the pack. So yeah, it was eye-opening to use that, but yeah, that's the rabbit hole I went down to yesterday.
And look, I think it's interesting. Like when I was talking to Josh this morning about this topic to bring it on air, it's like you cannot afford to sleep on your money, and I think. It's great when you sit. We all see there's people out there that have 6,000 properties themselves, or 120 they've bought. But by the time they're age of 20, they got these massive quotes of what they've done, and I think people think, yeah, that's great, but what about me? And that's great, but where do I start? And look, my advice to people that are out there that are saying, what do I do now, is not to sleep on your money. So yes, go buy 300 properties. Yes, you're going to have 150 properties. Yes, go buy 20, whatever you want to do. But at the end of the day, I think it's that common denominator where there's a lot of people that are just sitting on available equity, excess cash, that they can invest well. And the biggest concern they have is, if I do that, then I won't be able to do, I don't know, school fees for kids. I won't be able to do holidays for the family. I won't be able to do, I don't know, the car I always wanted. But the funny thing is that, yes, even when I see people that are the healthiest investors, they still eat well. They still do those other nice things in life. So I think the big thing I'd like people to take away from today is don't sleep on your money. And and the reason being for that is you're still going to be able to do everything that you've actually done already, and you're continuing doing. The sacrifice will not be as harsh. The reality of the sacrifice is not as harsh when you go into that next property.
Yeah, definitely. And I think like also, Mark, just something that you've done a talk on recently is depreciations and things like that. So you're very right in saying that when you're using equity out of your home, you're not using that passive income that you use day to day. It's money you wouldn't use, so you're not using that cash flow. And we had BMT up here, which is a depreciation experts, and we had them run a couple of models, and whether it was old stock or new, there were quite a few examples there where the shortfall might have only been $130 per week. So you split that down to a daily, you're talking 20 odd bucks. So instead of going out for lunch during work, pack your lunch, and like we're saying right now, don't sleep on your money. Pull out
Small
that
wins.
equity, expose yourself to more growth, and
Yep.
you can really find those buyers that won't hold you down, or you're worried about the repayments being made. It's definitely possible, and don't sleep on your money.
Yep, there's lots of small wins you can achieve, like depreciation, like daily exercise things, making your own coffee, things like that. That can all contribute to better investing, and it's not taking away from your greater life or what you really want to be doing out there. But speak to us. I've got some clients coming in today, mother and daughter. Mother, they're renting warehouse storage, and she's like, I've been doing it for 10 years. We've got money in the bank. What are we doing? I'm like, I can help you there. And she's like, my daughter, money in the bank. What is she doing? And daughter's like, can I come and talk to you as well? So speak to someone who knows how to make those next moves. It's not just a real estate agent that can, what do I buy? But it's actually someone that can hold your hand, say, she said to me, do you have a good broker? I said, is the Pope Catholic? Yes, I've got an excellent broker, excellent lawyer, excellent accountant, excellent property, and I can actually, weave it all in together for you guys. Let's talk. So I think it's important for people just to poke the bear and have these conversations and not sleep on their money.
Definitely. I think Lisa said they're filming. That'd be a great idea. Watch the expert at work, hey?
Yeah. And look, I probably get calls like that twice a week and have sit downs twice a week. Believe it or not, inevitably they always buy property from us as well. So it's just actually holding people's hand and actually stepping them through it, and then being able to explain what it looks like on the other end. And they go, yeah, it's right. I know that we see that.
Exactly right. Anything
What's
else you
another
wanted to touch on, Mark?
We do not get referrals either for referring great people. It's true.
Definitely.
That's it. So, guys, don't sleep on your money. If you've got cash, don't sleep on the cash. Get it working for you. If you've got equity in your property, get it working for you. Don't sleep on it. It costs you more in the end.
Yeah, good way to put it.
See you guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Have a
Josh.
good day.
Love ya. See
Bye.
ya. Bye-bye.